In the heart of Lagos, as dusk paints the city, a high-stakes game unfolds. Within a sleek strategy room, two formidable wills collide. Zara Bello, with fierce, intelligent eyes, stands her ground, her resolve unyielding. Across from her, Alexander Adiemi, cold and controlled, presses his advantage. Their silent battle intensifies, each glance a challenge, each unspoken word heavy with power. A confidential file, the prize of their struggle, lies between them, a silent witness. The air crackles with hostile energy, a dramatic confrontation that will redefine their world. Who will yield in this ultimate test of wills? The first times Arabella walked into the Adiemi estate, she didn't flinch. Gold gates, armed guards, silence heavy enough to suffocate. Alexander was already waiting, black suit, no tie, hands in pockets, watching her like she was a problem he hadn't decided how to eliminate yet. "Miss Bello," he said, voice calm, "you've built a reputation attacking families like mine." Zara gave him a polite smile, "Only the corrupt ones." The air shifted, his jaw tightened. "And yet you're here to save us." She stepped closer, close enough to invade his comfort. "I'm not here to save you," she said quietly. "I'm here to control the damage." Their eyes locked, something dangerous sparked. Not attraction, recognition, two predators measuring each other. Halfway through the campaign, Zara discovers something. The file that destroyed her father wasn't signed by Alexander's father. It was signed by Alexander. Zara didn't believe in fate. She believed in preparation. Stepping into the Adiemi strategy room, she was ready for war. The room was cold and minimalist. Power screamed in silence. At the head of the table sat Alexander Adiemi, watching her. "Miss Bello," he said smoothly, "you'll be working directly with me. Then I suggest you listen carefully." A flicker crossed his eyes. She connected her tablet. The presentation flashed. "Public trust recovery strategy. Your father's approval rating dropped 12%. The corruption leak is spreading across digital platforms faster than your media team can suppress it." Alexander leaned back. "And you can fix it?" "Yes." Silence stretched. "What made you take this job?" he asked, probing. Zara's jaw tightened. Professional challenge. He studied her. His assistant walked in with a file. "Sir, the archived report you requested." He opened it. Zara froze. On the file was a familiar logo, the same logo from documents her father died trying to publish. Her stomach turned cold. Alexander flipped through the pages. "Interesting. How history repeats itself," he murmured. She stepped forward. "Where did you get that file?" His eyes lifted slowly. "Excuse me?" "That file," she repeated, voice sharper now. "Where did you get it?" The room shifted. This was no longer strategy. This was personal. Alexander closed the file carefully. "Why does it matter?" "I'm familiar with that report." A pause, too long. His gaze sharpened. "How?" There it was, the moment. She straightened. "My father wrote the original investigation." Silence crashed into the room. Something changed in his expression. Not guilt, recognition. "Ah," he said quietly. Zara's pulse began to pound. "You knew?" It wasn't a question. Alexander stood slowly, walking around the table. He was directly in front of her, too close. "You're Daniel Bello's daughter." Not surprise, confirmation. Her chest tightened. "You remember him?" "I remember everyone who tries to destroy my family." The words hit like a slap. He was exposing corruption. He was reckless. Alexander corrected coldly. He was right, and he was wrong about us. Their faces were inches apart now. security outside the glass walls, staff pretending not to look. The tension was suffocating. My father lost his career because of your family. Alexander's voice dropped. Your father signed his own destruction. Her eyes flashed. That report had your signature. There, the accusation. His jaw flexed. Yes, he said. No denial, no apology. I signed the order to bury it. The world tilted. Her breathing slowed. You destroyed him. I protected my family and ruined mine. For the first time, something darker flickered behind his eyes. If I hadn't, he said quietly, he would have exposed things far worse than what you think you know. She let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Oh, please, don't make this noble. His hand came down on the table beside her, trapping her between him and the polished wood. You don't understand the game you're stepping into, Zara. The way he said her name, not Miss Bello, Zara, it felt like possession. Then educate me, she shot back. Their breathing mingled, hatred, history, something else dangerous and unwelcome sparking beneath it. He leaned in slightly. If you stay here, you will see things that will make you question everything your father believed. Her voice didn't shake. Good, because I came here to make you question everything you are. Silence, electric, and then his phone buzzed. Breaking it, the moment shattered. He stepped back first, control restored. Welcome to the campaign, Miss Bello, he said coolly. Let's see who survives it. Zara gathered her tablet. As she walked out, one thing was certain. This was no longer just about politics. It was war, and neither of them intended to lose. The gala was designed to restore power. Crystal chandeliers, velvet drapes, political elites draped in wealth and false smiles, cameras everywhere. Tonight wasn't about celebration, it was damage control. Zara stood at the top of the grand staircase inside the Adiemi estate ballroom, watching the room below. Senators, oil magnates, media owners, influencers, predators dressed in silk. She wore black, not soft black, sharp black, a fitted off-shoulder gown that hugged her frame like armor, minimal jewelry, hair sleek, expression unreadable. She didn't look like a strategist tonight, she looked like a warning. You're late. His voice came from behind her. Alexander, black tuxedo, no bow tie yet, jacket open, calm as ever, but his eyes restless. I like to observe before entering a battlefield, she replied without turning. This is not a battlefield. She finally looked at him. Everything involving your family is. A beat. The orchestra below swelled. He stepped beside her at the staircase, their shoulders almost touching. You will stand next to me tonight, he said quietly. Smile when required. Say nothing unnecessary. Do I look like someone who follows orders? His jaw tightened slightly. No, he admitted. You look like someone who needs to be managed. She turned fully toward him now. Careful. A flicker of heat passed between them. Careful. He repeated softly. You're confusing control with intimidation, and you're confusing pride with protection. That landed. She looked away first, not defeated, just thinking. Below them, a murmur rose. Phones were lifting. Media was positioning. The doors opened. A major news outlet had arrived early. Alexander exhaled slowly. They're going to ask about your father, she said calmly. His eyes cut to her. And you're going to say? That the Adiemi campaign stands for transparency and national stability, she replied smoothly, and that you personally oversee ethical compliance. You're lying. No, she corrected. I'm controlling perception. He studied her for a long second. Then, why didn't you walk away yesterday? It wasn't sarcasm. It was real. She didn't answer immediately, because the truth was complicated, because she had seen something in his eyes when he admitted signing that file. Something that didn't match the villain she had built in her mind. I don't run from enemies, she said finally. And if I become more than that? Her breath hitched just barely. Then that's your problem. A staff member approached nervously. Sir, ma'am. It's time. Alexander held out his arm. not gently, not warmly, strategically. The entire ballroom was watching. Zara looked at his arm, then at him. "You don't trust me," she said quietly. "No good." She slid her hand into the crook of his elbow. "And don't trust me." The cameras exploded in flashes as they descended the staircase together. The image was perfect power couple, united, untouchable. Only they knew the truth. His hand tightened slightly against hers as reporters surged forward. "Mr. Adeyemi, is it true the leaked file was signed by you?" The room froze. Zara stepped forward before he could answer. Her voice was calm, controlled, magnetic. "The document in question was part of a broader national security review process," she said smoothly, "which Mr. Adeyemi supervised to ensure compliance and prevent misinformation." She turned slightly toward Alexander, just enough for cameras to catch the subtle connection. "We stand by our record, our, not his." The word echoed. The crowd murmured. The narrative shifted. Alexander glanced down at her. That wasn't in the script. She felt his stare, ignored it, played her role flawlessly. But when the music resumed and the press moved on, he leaned closer. That was bold. That was necessary. "You just aligned yourself with me publicly." She met his gaze. "Yes, and you still think I destroyed your father?" "Yes." The contradiction hung between them. He lowered his voice. "You're playing a dangerous game, Zara." She didn't back down. "So are you." The orchestra swelled again. Couples began to dance, and suddenly his hand slid to her waist, not soft, firm, intentional. "We need to sell unity," he murmured. "Then don't step on my feet," she replied. The dance began, slow, controlled, too close. The ballroom lights dimmed slightly, leaving them under a golden chandelier glow. From a distance, they looked flawless, up close war. But as his hand rested at her lower back and her palm pressed against his chest, something shifted. Not forgiveness, not trust, something far more dangerous, curiosity. And when she looked up at him, just for a second, the hostility wasn't the only thing burning in her eyes.
The headline broke before the gala ended. Adeyemi air caught in intimate moment with strategist. The photo was ruthless. Her hand on his chest, his hand at her waist. Their faces inches apart. It didn't look strategic. It looked hungry. By the time the final guests left, the estate was in lockdown. Alexander's father was furious. The campaign team was panicking, and Zara stood alone in the private study, staring at the image on her phone. She didn't flinch, but she didn't breathe either. The door shut behind her, locked. She didn't turn around. "You should fire whoever leaked it," she said calmly. Silence. Then, "I didn't leak it." His voice was closer than she expected. She turned. Alexander had removed his tuxedo jacket. Sleeves rolled, bow tie hanging loose around his neck. The composed air was gone. What stood in front of her now was a man. And he was angry. "At what?" she asked coolly. "At the narrative," he replied. "They're saying you manipulated me." Her eyebrow lifted slightly. "And did I?" His jaw tightened. Don't what? Pretend this doesn't affect you." She stepped closer. "It doesn't?" A lie. He saw it. He crossed the room slowly, stopping just inches from her. "You aligned yourself with me publicly," he said quietly. "Now they think you're in my bed, and you care about that." He leaned in slightly. "I care about control, and you're losing it." His hand moved suddenly, not rough, but firm, gripping her wrist as she tried to step past him. "Stop walking away when I'm talking to you." Her eyes dropped briefly to his hand, then back up to his face. "Careful, Alexander." The warning was soft, but real. His grip loosened, not because he feared her, because he respected the strength in her tone. "You hate me," he said quietly. "Yes, but you didn't pull away on that staircase." Her breath shifted. "That was strategy, and the way you looked at me." Her voice sharpened. "You're imagining things." He stepped even closer now, their bodies almost touching. "No," he said softly. "I'm not." The room felt smaller, hotter, dangerous. "You signed the order that destroyed my father," she whispered. And you still touched me. The truth of that sliced through her. She hated that he was right. She hated that in that split second under the chandelier, something had shifted. Not forgiveness, not attraction, but awareness. Of him, of herself, of the tension that didn't feel entirely like war anymore. You don't get to use that against me, she said. I'm not using it. His voice dropped lower. I'm asking why. Silence, heavy, because for the first time, she wasn't sure. Before she could respond, a sharp knock hit the door. Alexander stepped back immediately, composure snapping into place. Sir, his security chief said from outside. There's been a breach. Both of them froze. What kind of breach? Alexander asked. A security camera near the west gate was disabled. We're investigating. Zara's mind clicked instantly. The leak, the camera angle, the timing. That wasn't random, she said. Alexander's eyes met hers. No, someone didn't just want a scandal. Someone wanted chaos inside the Adeyemi campaign. And possibly, inside this house, he turned to her slowly. You're not leaving tonight. Her chin lifted. That wasn't a request, and you think I need protection. I think, he said carefully, whoever is moving against my family now knows you're connected to me. The beat. And that makes you a target. For the first time since she walked into his world, Zara felt the weight of it. This wasn't just political. This was strategic warfare. And she was standing at the center of it. I don't scare easily, she said. I know. His gaze softened slightly, too slightly. That's what worries me. The silence between them shifted again. Not soft, not safe, but aware, to enemies. Now potentially hunted. And as the security alarms in the distance beeped faintly, one truth settled between them. This war wasn't just between them anymore, it was around them.
The security breach wasn't random. Zara knew that before the security team finished their sweep. She stood in the estate corridor, phone pressed to her ear. I'm leaving, she said. Alexander appeared at the end of the hallway. You're not. I don't take orders. You don't understand the scale of this. Her patience snapped. My father was buried by this scale. A security guard approached quickly, face pale. Sir. We found something near the west gate. They walked outside together, not touching, but aligned. On the concrete near the disabled camera was an envelope. Plain, unmarked. Alexander picked it up, opened it. Inside a printed copy of the scandal photo, and written across it in red ink, next time it won't just be a picture. Underneath Zara Ballot, not his name, hers. The air shifted instantly. Alexander's jaw hardened. This is no longer about reputation, he said quietly. Zara didn't step back, but she felt it, the shift from political war to personal targeting. You're still not staying, she said. He looked at her like she'd lost her mind. Someone just threatened you. Someone wants to scare me, and they succeeded. Her eyes flashed. No. But for the first time he saw doubt flicker. Not fear, calculation. Later that night, the estate locked down fully. She was placed in the secure guest wing, private corridor, 2 security guards outside. Alexander's room was at the opposite end. Not coincidence, strategy. She sat on the edge of the bed, laptop open, investigating. Tracing the leak, camera outage timestamps, media release timing. One detail stood out: the leak was uploaded from inside the estate's network. Someone inside the house. She stood immediately and nearly collided with him in the hallway. You're supposed to be in your room, he said. You have a traitor in your house. He didn't argue. Show me. They moved to his private office. She pulled up the data, internal IP access. 30 minutes before the photo went live, his expression darkened. My father's chief of staff had network access at that time, or someone using his credentials, she said. Silence, dangerous. Then her phone buzzed, unknown number. She answered, no voice, just breathing, then a whisper. You shouldn't have touched him. The line went dead. Alexander had heard enough. His expression changed, not cold now, not calculated, protective, raw. You're not leaving this estate, he said quietly. She met his gaze. And if I refuse? He stepped closer, not threatening, steady. Then I will make sure you don't have the option. The tension between them shifted again. This wasn't just enemies. This was proximity under pressure, and the scariest part. Neither of them stepped back. The estate lost power at 2:17 a.m. Not a flicker, not a surge, total darkness. Zara woke instantly. Silence swallowed the secure wing. No hallway lights, no security hum, too quiet. Her phone screen lit up, no signal. That's when she heard it, a metallic click outside her door. Not security, deliberate. She moved fast, heels abandoned, bare feet silent against marble. Before she could reach the door, it opened. Her heart slammed and a hand pulled her inside the dark hallway. She twisted, ready to strike. Relax, Alexander, his voice low, close, too close. The generators were manually disabled, he whispered. This wasn't technical. Inside job, she breathed. Yes, a sudden crash echoed from the west corridor. Glass breaking, security shouting, footsteps running. Alexander grabbed her hand, this time no hesitation. Stay behind me. I don't need tonight, you do. They moved quickly down the dark hallway. Emergency red lights flickered faintly now, casting everything in blood-colored shadows. A masked figure appeared at the far end, holding something metallic. Gun. The shot fired. The bullet shattered a mirror near them. Alexander shoved Zara hard against the wall, shielding her. Chaos exploded. Shouting, struggle, another shot fired, then silence, heavy breathing. Security dragged the masked man upright. Zara stepped forward. No fear, only fury. Take off the mask. They did. Not a stranger, not an assassin. A campaign tech analyst. Someone who worked inside the estate. Alexander's face hardened. Who sent you? The man said nothing, but when security searched him, they found a flash drive. Zara's instincts ignited. Give it to me. They moved to Alexander's office as backup power slowly returned. Dim lights flickered on. The estate felt exposed. Alexander locked the door behind them. Zara inserted the flash drive into his laptop. Files loaded, encrypted folders. One titled, DeBello Original Draft. Her pulse stopped. Alexander saw it too. She opened it. It wasn't the published version of her father's investigation. It was the original, unedited, unburied. And at the bottom there was a second signature, not Alexander's, a government minister, one who now publicly supported the Adiemi campaign. The room shifted. You didn't sign the order alone, she said quietly. No, you protected someone. He didn't deny it. Your father uncovered something bigger than corruption, Alexander said carefully. He uncovered treason. Her breathing grew uneven. You destroyed him to protect a traitor. I destroyed him, he said sharply, to prevent civil collapse. She turned on him. Don't make that noble. I'm not. Their voices rose, emotion bleeding through control. You took away his voice. I saved lives. You don't know that. And you don't know what would have happened if he published it. Silence slammed between them. Red emergency light flickering, too close, too raw. You don't get to decide who pays the price, she whispered, and you don't get to pretend your father understood the consequences. Her hand shot out, grabbing his collar. Anger, grief, heat. Don't you dare. He caught her wrist mid-sentence, not forceful, but firm, breathing heavy, faces inches apart. You think I wanted to sign that file? He said quietly, the first crack real. I was 27. My father was in surgery. The minister threatened to destabilize the entire region. She stared at him, processing. You had a choice. Yes, he said softly, and I chose my country. The words hung there, heavy, terrible. Her grip on his collar didn't loosen. His hand was still wrapped around her wrist. Their breathing slowed. The chaos outside faded, and suddenly the anger wasn't the only thing between them. It was grief, shared in different ways. His eyes dropped briefly to her lips, then back to her eyes. She didn't move, didn't pull away. For a second, war turned into something dangerously intimate. He leaned in, slowly, not forcefully, asking without asking. Her breath caught. Her fingers tightened slightly in his shirt. The world narrowed. Almost a sharp knock hit the door. Security. Sir, we've secured the perimeter. They broke apart instantly, composure snapping back into place. But something had changed irrevocably. They weren't just enemies now. They were tied together by truth and targeted by someone who didn't want that truth uncovered. Zara picked up the flash drive. This doesn't end here, she said. No, he agreed. It escalates.
The minister called at 8:03 a.m., not Alexander's father. Not the campaign line. Alexander directly. Zara was in the room when it happened. He put it on speaker without asking her. Alexander, the minister's smooth voice echoed. I hear there was an incident last night, an internal matter. Alexander replied calmly. I hope it remains that way. You were warned years ago, the minister continued. Daniel Bayah got too close to something he didn't understand. Zara's body went still. Alexander's eyes flicked to her. Are you threatening my staff? Alexander asked quietly. I'm reminding you what loyalty requires. The line went dead. The room felt smaller. He had my father killed. It wasn't hysterical. It wasn't dramatic. It was realization. Alexander didn't immediately answer. That was answer enough. Zara stepped back. You knew he was capable of that. I suspected. And you still protected him. I prevented a political collapse. At the cost of my father's life. Her voice finally broke. Just slightly. He stepped toward her. She stepped away. For years you thought I destroyed your father for convenience, he said quietly. You think I don't carry that? Don't, she snapped. Do not try to share my grief. Another knock. Security entered quickly. Sir, media vans are outside the estate. There's a new leak. Zara's phone buzzed simultaneously. She looked down. Her blood ran cold. A video, grainy footage from last night, the red-lit office. Her gripping his collar, him leaning in, almost kissing. The headline beneath it. Adeyemi Air distracted by scandal affair while campaign crumbles. Her name was trending, not as strategist, as seductress. They're destroying your credibility, Alexander said. No, she corrected quietly. They're weaponizing it. Another buzz, this time a photo of her apartment building. Taken that morning, message attached. You chose the wrong side. Alexander saw it. His expression changed instantly. No politics, no calculation, only decision. He turned to security. Lock down the estate. Increase perimeter. No one in or out without my approval. Then he looked at her. You're moving into my private wing. She stared at him. That's not necessary. Yes, it is. You think proximity solves this. I think visibility does. If they believe we're united, they lose leverage. Her eyes sharpened. You're asking me to stand beside you publicly again. I'm asking you to survive. The tension shifted. This wasn't flirtation. This was alignment. You'll lose donor confidence, she said quietly. They'll think you're reckless. Let them. You're willing to risk the campaign. His jaw tightened. I'm willing to risk everything. The words landed heavier than he intended. Silence. Heavy. Then, outside the estate gates, shouting erupted. Security rushed back to the window. Protesters, dozens, holding printed screenshots of the leaked video. Chanting her name, not in support, in accusation. Zara exhaled slowly. This is bigger than scandal. Yes, they're destabilizing you. Yes, and me. Yes, a beat? Her voice softened. If you stand beside me now, you're choosing me over political safety. His eyes didn't waver. I chose you last night when that gun went off. The air between them shifted. Something final, something irreversible. She stepped closer, close enough to feel his warmth. You don't get to protect me because you feel guilty. I'm not protecting you out of guilt. Then why? Silence. Then, because if they touch you, he said quietly, I will burn everything down. The words weren't dramatic. They were promise. Her breath slowed. Not fear, recognition. This man wasn't soft. He wasn't gentle, but he was loyal once he chose. And he was choosing her. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed from the front gate, smoke rising, security alarms blaring. The protesters scattered. Someone had thrown a device. Not deadly, but intentional. Alexander grabbed her hand without thinking. Inside, now, this time, she didn't pull away.